in certain situations when you crave male attention, you start acting a goddamn fool.
Acting all the way up. How many people are using other women as meal tickets to the next level? This whole leveling up, even the leveling up journey, yeah.
Just because you were going through something doesn't absolve you of the fact that you hurt me.
Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Renee.
And I'm Courtney, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
Now, we are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's conversation, sisters, we are going to be talking about toxic friendships, okay? Ooh. We're going to be having a good chin wag about our experiences with toxic friends, how friendships can become toxic, how you can spot them out, leave, address them, have those hard conversations, but also how we can avoid being the toxic friend, because no one is above toxicity.
Nobody.
You already know self-awareness is what we do around here. So this conversation is going to be juicy. But before we get into that, and before we even get into the dilemma, sis, we have some house announcements, okay? It is April. It's a new month. The spring is springing, okay? And of course, before we announce this month's Vision 22 challenge, because we didn't forget, even though we kind of did, but we remembered, okay? Before we announce that, we have to celebrate our good sis who won March's challenge. Now, as you know, to recap, March's challenge and every challenge that we do is just to encourage us to grow as a community, but also grow as people. And March's challenge was to donate to a charity or an organization, which, you know, preferably is helping women anywhere in the world, but also it could just be any organization which is doing dope things. And so this month's, March's Vision 22 winner is Miss Renee.
Drum roll, please. Congratulations, Basayo.
Well done.
_Basayo on Instagram with the 00 on the end. Thank you so much, sis. She donated to Milk Honey Bees, which is an organization which is all about supporting very, very young Black women.
We love it.
Very, very young Black girls.
We love to see it.
And helping them in their developmental journey, building sisterhood, kind of like a mini TMS, but for the young'uns.
Oh, I love that. Not a mini TMS, girl. We are looking TMS. At them for inspiration. But yes, thank you so much for donating. And shout out to all the sisters who did the amazing thing of donating money, donating time, any kind of resources to any organization doing something to make this world better. We really do appreciate you, and we are so thankful for such a selfless act. Okay, but it's April.
So April.
What's the challenge?
It is mid-April, girls. It's been a long and life just be life, and we have a lot of things to be doing, aka writing that book. But we are super pleased to announce the next challenge for April, which is, quite frankly and quite simply, shout out a sister or a friend that you love with one reason as to why you think she's amazing. That's it.
Cool.
Don't forget to tag us on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, whatever your preferred platform is. Don't forget to tag the sister and give us one reason why she's such a wonderful human being.
Yeah, just take this month to celebrate your sisters, okay? We love to see it. You maybe want to shout out a little somebody whose birthday is in early May.
Well, y'all, when Miss Courtney listen, I celebrate Courtney's birthday more than I celebrate mine, to be honest with you. That is a national holiday. When we enter into May,
it actually is a national holiday.
May is Courtney month. The month of Miss Courtney. Everybody just like bring your offerings. Everyone just like come out and celebrate the harvest. Like, guys, in springtime too. Anyways, we'll gas her in due course.
My birthday's actually in May, so yeah, don't worry. It doesn't have to be me. Shout out to whoever you want, a person you love, adore from afar, or who you get to do life with on a daily. We just want to see you celebrate a good sis, okay? Absolutely. So that's that. Now let's get into the ding
dilemma.
Okay. This one is very juicy and quite close to my heart. Okay. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Hey, sisters. Hey. It has honestly been a privilege listening to your podcast, and your messages have really resonated with me. I have been truly touched by your words and pray for your continued success.
Oh, thanks, sis.
I know, right? I have a dilemma. I grew up with an absent father for years. I felt it was my own fault that my father left when I was 3.
Aww.
Earlier this year, I had a dream about my father, and it really shook me. It was on my mind constantly. In real life, I then discovered an email he sent to my mom about him missing me, and it really weighed on me. I was scared, but I sent an email response. Long story short, he didn't email back. I then, out of desperation, DM'd him on Instagram to no prevail because of his with no prevail because of his inactivity on the app. My mum found out that I had tried to contact him, and now I feel guilty. Was I wrong for contacting him, sisters?
Wow, that is a juicy dilemma. It is a heavy one. And it's been a while since we've had a dilemma about, you know, some family issues. So
no, it hasn't. We had one the other day, the girl in the family business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Family dilemmas. We get a lot of those.
We get, wow.
Yeah.
I guess more so around like fatherhood and like parents and stuff. This was an interesting dilemma. Personally, I don't think that you were wrong in contacting him. No. I think perhaps it might have been smarter to engage with your mother at first, especially because the initial email was sent to her. But I think there's several things to unpack in your dilemma that I think we really do need to address. First of all, it's not your fault that your father left. And I think it's very easy for like, not just young women, but young men as well, to feel that an absent parent is their fault when really it wasn't your decision to be born. It wasn't your decision to, you know, enter into the world, and you cannot take accountability for somebody else's actions, especially at such a young age. The onus of parenthood and parenting and being a father lies with your father, and he made the conscious decision to leave for whatever reasons. It may have been, you know, he was in a bad situation, whatever, but you cannot bear the burden or the onus of responsibility of absence, particularly at that age. It actually has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. Like the age of reason is like 7 or 8, and even then, like, again, that's a false responsibility that you're bearing. So I know even with these words, it's difficult for you to shirk off that responsibility, and it's something you might want to talk out a little bit. But please, sis, this is not your fault, especially you being so young. You're only 16. This is not your responsibility at all. In terms of wanting to contact your father, it's actually natural. You know, when we have parents, we do have, you know, biological as well as psychological and even spiritual ties to them. And it's natural to want to find out where you came from. It's natural to want to figure out your genesis and to, you know, figure out what happened, why did he leave, to really just know more about, you know, even your family history. There's a lot of brokenness that can come as a result of an absentee parent, whether it be your mother or your father. So it's actually very, very natural. And in a number of other cases, I also think it's very natural. For example, if you were adopted, for example, or even if, heaven forbid, you know, you might have a parent that may have passed away. In those kind of cases, you still have, you know, a desire to learn more. You might have a desire to figure out that connection and understand a bit more about your history. So I think that's really natural, and it's okay to want to actually reach out to your parent. I think in terms of like being tactful about it, actually engaging with the parent that is here. I think, you know, shout out to your mum for, you know, raising you, sticking around, being there for you. I'm hoping so. I'm assuming. I don't want to assume too tough, but, you know, if she has been the one that has been present and, you know, your father has been absent, it would be worth pursuing conversations with her around, you know, your father. And I think the difficulty in that is often many of us may think that, you know, our parents might have a very particular view of the parent that left. So we've spoken about in a couple of our past episodes about the fact that, you know, being an absent parent can sometimes give rise to the creation of, you know, certain narratives and really negative like associations that we might have with the absent parent due to the fact that we've been engaging with the parent that stayed. However, I do think it's worth, you know, you're 16 now, getting older, sis, sit down with your mum and say, hey mom, where's my other parent? You might not want to be as forward as that, but at least opening the door, engaging that conversation. I'm not really sure how much you've already spoken to your mother about this, but I can imagine that it might have hurt her a little bit to kind of like see that email chain without you pursuing the conversation with her first. So I'd say in terms of being tactful, maybe sit down and try to understand a little bit more. Heaven knows, you know, your mother might actually be one of the lifelines to him. She might be able to provide some kind of connection to him. She might be able to provide some kind of like contact details. But I think seeing your mother as an ally in your quest to kind of learn more about your father and potentially like seek out whatever it is you want, whether it be closure, whether it be rebuilding a connection, and whether it be simply understanding what happened and when. I think seeing your mother as an ally could be really, really useful in these kind of pursuits. The last thing that I would say is take it slow and take your time. Family trauma and the result of an absent parent now, having whispers or little bits of them coming back can be extremely traumatic or extremely emotionally taxing. So really do take your time. If you can, potentially think about going to a school counselor, a therapist, or even somebody that you really trust, a friend, speaking to your mother if you have that kind of connection, or any of your other siblings. But really do take your time, because this is a foundational relationship that you might have missed out on, and bringing that back into your life in whatever form it is can be very, very jarring. So do expect that this might not be a smooth ride, and that's okay, that's normal, and that's natural. And then the last thing I'll say, because I've nattered on, is it's okay, sis, you're actually not alone. A lot of people have experienced some form of absenteeism from their parents, and it's really, really painful, especially when it feels like your appearance in the world may have been a factor as to why they've decided to leave. That doesn't mean that it's your responsibility. You may have been a factor, but it's not your responsibility. Neither is it your fault. Ultimately, choices were made before you were born, and choices were made when you were born. And you have no responsibility, fault, or any kind of, bearing as to, holding the responsibility for that. So I just want to remind you that outside of everything that is going on, outside of taking your time, this is actually something that a lot of people go through, and don't ever allow this to determine your worth insofar as your other relationships too, because sometimes absenteeism can leak into the way that we engage with other people. It can feel as though you don't really want people to leave you, or you might have, attachment issues and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to read too much into the situation and all that kind of stuff, but just speaking from the experiences that I've had with my friends, and also in my own case, it can feel as though this is you digging at a root. This isn't even a plant you're digging. You're really digging in the soil to find the root of these kind of issues. So take your time. You're not alone, and draw strength from the community that you have around you.
That's really good advice. I think on the flip side though, I can understand where your mother is coming from. As somebody who grew up predominantly with my mom and my father being the absentee parent, similarly, I think it's tough being the person that stayed, and then realizing that this child that you're probably pouring, like similar to what Renee said, I don't want to read too much into it, but I think this is typically the case when you are the parent that remains, and the parent that has to stay and commit, and also pick up the slack when the other parent has decided to be absent. It can be very hard to deal with the fact that, despite the fact you were the one that was present, and you have been the one doing the nurturing and the providing and the work, your child and the person who's benefited from that still longs for the person who is absent, and still sees that chunk as something worth pursuing. It's kind of a confrontation of the fact that you are not enough. And everything that you have done not necessarily isn't enough, but there is still something that has to be fulfilled, which you cannot fulfill. And I think as a single parent, even though I am not one, haven't experienced that, I think it is tough to know that no matter how hard you're trying, there's still a gap and there's still a space in your child's heart that you cannot fill. And it's a hard conversation to have with that parent. And I think sometimes it's hard for those feelings to even be expressed, because it can feel selfish, because that person will never get another father. I can't, keep that away from them. It could also be that your mother is protecting you from something in terms of why she doesn't want that relationship to be built, or she doesn't want to be the bridge between you. I think it's more so understanding where your mother is coming from, and it's not a confrontation. It's not just expressing, I want to know my dad. It's actually also understanding what's going on with you, know. But I do still think that despite whatever she could say, it's still on you to decide, okay, do I still want to pursue a relationship with my father? And no matter what, your mother expresses, it's neither good nor bad that you want to pursue a relationship with your father, because like Renee said, that's probably very natural. Like, that is a part of who you are. It's your DNA, and it's your family, whatever you consider that to mean. And so I would say one thing that helped me, and I'll talk about it personally, is detaching the fact that this man is two things. He is my mother's ex-husband, or my mother's husband, and he is my father. And those two relationships have two different characteristics, though they may have overlap. if my mom doesn't want this man, I still need him as a father. And so I would say listen to your mom's heart, but also listen to your own heart as well. And I don't think you should feel guilty. I don't think you should feel guilty at all, like you were in the wrong for contacting your father. I think that this opens up another can of worms, and unfortunately it's very hard. It smells of the past, you know, and sometimes that has a huge stench to it, and you may not even be old enough or have been old enough at the times of certain things to understand the rawness of those emotions that your mother probably remembers so vividly, and it's something that she's maybe dealing with, or your father remembers so vividly. And so I think one thing that happens when you are in your late teens, or you start getting to that like 16 and older, you start to humanize your parents a lot, and your father hasn't been in your life for the longest time. And it may be easy to have all these imaginations of who he is. And if you are going to pursue meeting him, I think just open up your mind to know he's human. You know, a lot of the reasons he may give, or the things you may learn about him, you may not consider them good enough, or you may not even understand them, but he's coming in with his own story. And your mother also has her own story. And I think now it's about listening to their stories and then deciding how you want your story to play out, taking those two into consideration. But it's never an easy thing. And when you are 16, you're still so young, right? And my mind is going back to when I was 16 and new people appearing into my life. And it's like, I actually don't know how I'm meant to feel towards you. And I don't know why I feel guilty about wanting to know you, as if it was disloyalty to the people who have always been in my life. But I think they also need to give you grace to know that, one, you are young, but even if you weren't young, you owe it to yourself to at least explore the potential of these relationships, because it's something you've been deprived of for so long. And I actually think they would have greater understanding than you'd probably think they would, right? Even though it may hurt initially, it's something that your family and your mum is going to have to sit with, and they'll probably come to terms with it, unless there is something that is really making them not want you to know this man. Do you get what I mean? It may be uncomfortable initially, but I think they'll embrace it over time, as long as you have those conversations and you keep, like Renee said, those lines of conversation open. Don't be secretive about this, especially if you and your mum are close. I think, like you said, going down this journey with her, not her over involvement or her centering herself, but her just helping you, or even just her knowing what is going on, may help her feel more comfortable as you explore more of what could be with your father, or more of who your father is. But I don't think you should have any guilt for wanting to just know him or to have the introduction. It's not like you're saying, I want him to come over every Sunday for Sunday dinner and us all sit around pretending to be happy families. All you're saying is, I want to ask this man some questions, you know. I just want to meet him. I want to know where he's at. I want to know if he's alive. I want to know where he lives. Like, all of these different things are not too much to ask to know about your father, I don't think. And I think anyone should be able to understand that, hopefully. So it's going to take a lot of bravery, but I think you deserve some answers. And yeah, like Renee said, you're actually not alone in this, and you should really lean into certain like communities and people you love, and you know, your friends, your whoever is there as pastoral support in your school, if you can trust them, or another family member, an auntie, an uncle, other siblings, cousins, whoever you're close to, who can help understand and empathize with your situation and has seen that story play out, but also can just give you good heartfelt wisdom on how to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically as well. So yeah, sis, take it a day at a time, but sit down with your mom, let her know that you love her, but also let her know this is happening. This is actually happening. And I hope that your dad is responsive. I know you said he's inactive on IG and he hasn't responded to your email. And I really hope that you also guard your heart from heartbreak if he doesn't reciprocate. I think what can be hard with absentee parents is there may even be guilt on his side, or there just may be a whole bunch of unseriousness, which means that, you know, they're in 1 minute, they're out 1 minute. And so, yeah, hold on to the anchors that are already there, right? Like, don't start pushing people away because of the potential of this person coming into your life, because you actually don't know their track record yet. And track record is really important when it comes down to building trust. So keep yourself attached to, and in fact, even start strengthening the relationships you have with people already in your life who have shown you their good character, who've shown you that track record, like your mom, like your other family members, and show them, as well as remind yourself, this is not you drawing away from them to get someone else, to draw closer to someone else. It's you bringing someone else closer to you. You don't have to displace your whole life to accommodate someone who is yet to show you that they're worth the chaos, you know? So anyway, let me not project. But yeah, that's what I'd say, sis. But yeah, we're wishing you all the best, little sister. We love you. We hope that you are feeling the love and you're soaking up all the love around you. But already talking about some toxic experiences and painful times, let us get into this conversation about toxic friends, because this is actually just based off of what we saw last week on the internet and what you mentioned briefly in last week's episode, where a young lady made was it a TikTok? Made a TikTok.
There's always nonsense going on there.
I love that app though.
It's so funny.
Pure chaos. I love it. A young lady made a TikTok, and in it, you know, she said she wants more friends that are baddies. Because it's not like the friends that she already has, they're not bums, like they're not ugly, but they don't be getting guys like she be getting guys. And I'm saying it like that because she's American, and you know I love my good American accent. I hope you guys don't find it annoying, because I'm only going to get worse. So yeah, she was like, she wants more friends that are baddies, quote unquote baddies, like her, because out of her friendship group, she's just pressed with all of this male attention, and she just wants it to be distributed. Fairness, socialism, equal distribution of resources.
Everyone having their portion.
Do you get what I mean? And so that's what she wants, right? She wants everything to be spread, but she just feels like she hasn't got enough baddie friends. So she just wants more baddie friends. Gosh. What are your thoughts? You know, what was your thoughts when you saw the video? Because when I saw it, I thought, sorry,
that noise. It's giving, you know, when you know that meme that I posted of Victor Kunda? He's looking at your friend. It was very much a okay. I don't want to roast her too much, but there was just several things that was just ultimately just pants about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, first of all, the premise that friendship should be based on your capacity to draw in men was that was a big problem. And this whole idea of like, oh, I want a baddie friend, well, what does that really entail? Like, what are you trying to say? Because I think there's the whole, do you just want friends because of their desirability in when we're thinking about like male attention? B, it's kind of disrespectful to all of the friends that you already have. Like, are you
not kind of, it is big time.
Hugely disrespectful to the friends that you already have, insofar as they're valuing like your life being premised on their capacity to get male attention. And then when we're thinking about desirability politics, like what kind of men are you trying to attract? The ones that like baddies. And sis, we've seen on the internet and in real life, there's some BS. Like the men that are some of the men, don't want to generalize, but some of the men that are going after quote unquote baddies, ew. You suck. You stink. You're big stinkers.
I hear it.
And I think it's just a testament to how much like patriarchy and like female value being based on aesthetics has even penetrated so far to our own friendships. Like, are you really seriously like, and I get it insofar as like maybe you actually want like maybe friends that are a bit more outgoing, or like you want friends to frequent certain places with you. But this whole, I specifically want friends that match a specific aesthetic so that they can aid me in my desire to catch men. Girl, that's a problem. Is that a friend, or are they rat catchers? Oh, you looking for rat catchers?
Not mouse traps.
Rat catchers. And then the whole like, there's so many just layers to it. I'm just like, this is so problematic. And then the assumption that you are like the epitome of, you know, I was gonna go there. The assumption that you are the baddie, you are the down baddie of your friends. Like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with all this prettiness and pretty privilege? And I just want it to be fairly distributed amongst my friends. I ain't gonna say what I was gonna say because it's not PC, but girl, sometimes
this is the issue.
Take it down a
This
peg.
is the issue. It's like, you are the baddest out of all your friends, okay? But is you just a big fish in a small pond? Because when you want to G with the big boys, you might be the small fish in a big pond.
And even this whole, I feel like I'm the baddie. How do we verify that?
She gets the
Is
male
it that
attention.
you are, and what kind of male attention are you getting as well?
Well, one that she's proud of.
Yeah, one that, you know, fits in with the baddie
and
aesthetic.
validates her. That's what I'm saying. I think this is what's unfortunate, and I see it, and I saw somebody release a video on it who does a lot of like feminine energy content. You guys already know, if you know my history, you know how I feel about that genre.
Yeah,
you know how I feel about the genre. But she said something which was actually very good, and she's a great content creator. I just can't remember her name. And she was saying how one gripe she has with people who are, you know, trying to channel feminine energy and grow in their femininity is and what causes a lot of these women who are feminine to withdraw from female groups and friendships and stuff like that is a lot of women who are focusing on their femininity always see it, which is the main critique, which we always say on this podcast, through the male gaze. It's all about pleasing the male gaze. And so when these women congregate and they get together, their main focus is male attention, male validation, and pleasing and appealing to that, right? They rarely focus on validation coming from how well they serve in friendship, how well they can have community and conversation even with other women, or even build network with other women, which is purely based off of their relationship and not how they can help each other in satisfying the male gaze. It is rarely independent from men. So even if they are meeting up, we're meeting up so that we can get the attention of men.
Have you ever had those kind of friends?
No.
Oh my gosh. Or like
I
at least
can spot people like that from a mile away.
Even
because
acquaintances.
It's all you. No, I'm personally like,
oh man.
and don't get me wrong, I love a good chinwag, I love a good gossip, I love a good talking session about men and sex and all of that, and us and our girls do it all the time. However, if that is the complete center of your friendship with somebody, all you can talk about is relationship status. All you can talk about is how many dates you're doing. And that is also on a personal level where you get the majority of your validation. I personally really struggle to be friends with people like that.
No, I hear it.
Because for me, you can't be a friend. You need deliverance. You have an idol. And this is the one thing I hate so much when people idolize attention. They idolize like,
good.
no, I hate it. If you want me to choke myself.
Because the thing is, for me, I tend to be more like extroverted in the sense of like, I like people. I like people's presence. I like going places and stuff like that. So if I'm with a lot of people and there's like, have you ever been in like a room or like you go somewhere and there's that one person that is doing entirely too much because they want attention?
Oh, someone has popped into my brain.
Multiple. And it's just like, why you gotta be like this, bro?
Because people are attention whores.
This is the thing.
Yeah. In real life. You think people are bad on the internet? In real life, IRL, attention seekers.
Especially when it comes to men, or like those girls that like move different when like
men are around. Exactly. Women who move different when men are around, it really does, especially when you start moving different around other women, and when they become what we saw in this video. And this is what irks me, because I have fallen into this trap. Please don't think I'm virtue signaling or I'm acting holier than thou. When I was younger and I was mad, like I was not confident at all, but I've always been the loudest. I've always known my strengths, and my strength is I am flipping funny. I am hilarious, even if I do say so myself. And so what I would do in order to get male attention, even though I wasn't doing it purposefully, because of my insecurity, I would make fun of my friends. So I will like clown on my friends just to get that attention from being funny, and my friends would become the butt of the joke. And that is one of my best friends at the time, she pulled me up on it, and she was like, I don't like when you do that, you're embarrassing me. And that's what we saw in the video. And that's why, because I then stood back and I realized, crap, this is a relationship that actually means a lot to me. This is my best friend, right? Yeah. And she's letting me know that I am doing to her the thing that I actually fear the most, being embarrassed, right? Being made to seem undesirable, being the butt of the joke. I'm literally bullying her in front of people to prop up my own self-esteem, right? That's what G-checked me. I value this relationship more than male attention. And that's what changed my perspective over time. And I just had to start noticing, why am I saying certain things and why am I interacting in different settings in different ways? Because I would never do that to her in a group of female friends. If we were around all our girlfriends, if we were in our squad, I would never have embarrassed her like that or made her the butt of the joke like that. You know, with your friends, you just cuss small, but it's not like it's not serious. And especially if you know it's touchy and you won't repeat it, you can read the social cues better. But in certain situations when you crave male attention, you start acting a goddamn fool.
Acting all the way up.
And that's what we saw in this video. It's like, I'm going to prop myself up by pushing these women I call friends down, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously. And obviously we don't know, you know, that woman's wider relationship. She could be an absolute saint, but that video made her look completely terrible to me, because it's like, you're just acting up because the cameras are on. These are probably the women who have helped you, consoled you. And even if your friendship is not that close with them, you're just showing your ass because you really look like, I even found out this week that ass apparently is a bad word.
It's a bad word. That killed me.
Oh my gosh.
Story when they bleeped. I was like, Courtney, what did you say?
I know, right? Even when I was watching the story back, I heard bleep. I said, what? I am not a swearer.
Like, you're filthy mouth.
My filthy mouth. Bar of soap. It's giving Miranda Cosgrove. I cuss a little.
Screaming.
I like to cuss a little.
Oh my gosh, that's yeah.
What's your favorite swear word?
Bleep.
Probably. Literally, I don't swear. So when I heard that, I said, "Oh God, what did I do?"
What did you say? And then it was
then I
just like
realized
little ass. That's why you guys are getting all
y'all
knickers and twists.
Upset about this, all this ass. Anyway. So yeah, sorry, that was this week's realization. Apparently, honestly, A double snakes is a bad word.
A double snakes.
A double snakes. HE double hockey sticks.
But no, man, I just think it's just so bummy. Like it
is. It's sad.
It's so
sad.
Bummy to think that something that we've been fighting for as women is, you know, respect as a gender, and for this to have penetrated so far that you want to base your value in female friendships in aesthetics. In aesthetics, knowing that that's the currency with which we have to battle the opposite gender with. Really?
Yeah. And she's gonna be big mad when she starts rolling with the big baddies.
And this is the thing.
And she starts to realize,
we're a toot to somebody.
You ain't as cute. Exactly. You ain't as cute as you think you are. And it's not to say, miss, that you are ugly, because you probably look really beautiful, right? But have you seen the baddies of this generation?
Oh, honey. And even the baddies don't look like the baddies. Some of them are getting plastic surgery. So, and in terms of like just aesthetics, this is the problem as well, because can you vouch for their character or personality?
But do people care about that? That's the thing. Like when it comes to female friendships, it's easy to fall into it's literally the mean girls complex, right? It's I want to sit with the Regina Georges of the world. What were they called? The plastics. I want to fit into the plastics. I want to fit in with the Regina Georges of the world. I want to be accepted. And you saw what happened to Lindsay Lohan's character, to Katie. Baby. Okay, to Katie. You saw what happened to her. You start to forsake everything else. You're not even paying attention to whether you're having fun. You're not paying attention to whether you even enjoy these people, whether you feel safe around these people. How many people are in friendships which on the surface look fantastic? They look really strategic. They look like they're having real fun, but they would not for a minute of their life trust their friends with any personal information about them. You see it on Real Housewives of any city. Love and hip hop of any city. You see it all the time. Just because this friendship and this clique looks really pretty and like they've got everything together and that they're really aspirational doesn't mean that they have any depth worth your dwelling there, right? Friendship is something you shouldn't take lightly, okay? And if you want to have a network of baddies, if you want to have a group of baddies who you go out with just to have a good time, that's fine. But the friends you're probably talking about, the title of friend, don't throw that around too loosely. You've got acquaintance, you've got girls I hang out with on the weekend. Just my group of neighbors, my girls.
You've got, people.
Do you get what I mean? Like, those are my girls. Those are my people.
Because there's some people that you bump into and you're like, oh, we can have a good night out. But that's not your friend.
Friends.
Those are the same friends. You'll be out here like, oh, I want more baddies as friends. But when those baddies take your man,
and God help you, God help you if you meet people who think like you, because they're probably thinking in the same way, the level up mentality, because no one who is pure hearted will let a snake into their garden.
Come on.
If your mindset is terrible, even if she is a baddie, if she doesn't think like that, if she doesn't get her validation from men, you're going to try and suck up to her. She's not going to give a damn, because she can tell you're a snake in my garden. Do you get what I mean? So it's not to say women should not aspire to be their best selves, to feel confident, to even fit into that feminine aesthetic, right? That's not the issue here. The issue is when you place your validation and your motivation for doing that is satisfying the male gaze, because every woman becomes a stepping stone. She becomes something that you can walk over, step on, use to get up closer to your goal. And that's how you end up in your ideal relationship, but you don't have any friends. You end up with the baller, but you don't have anyone you can call. You end up
when
with
the baller starts acting
when the
up.
baller starts acting mad. It's those same non-baddie friends. Those busters. You're going to call those busters. You're going to, hey sis, I haven't spoken to you in a while. And you know what those busters are going to be doing? Not having any time for you. Because no one wants to talk to or help anyone who has walked over them unless they have a very, very good heart. And very few people have that.
Gosh. You know what? The funny thing is, I think this is such an excellent entry point into the broader conversation of women seeing other women as competition. So you could swap out the whole statement of baddies for, I want to have more friends that I can go on holidays with, or I want to have more friends that I can, pursue personal. They sound really okay, that seems normal. But the problem with a lot of, I want friends who I can do this with, or I can look like this with, is there's actually no substance. And it means that you see women as a commodity as opposed to an opportunity for building meaningful relationships. And I think that's where women are falling into the same trap that we see society perpetuate again and again and again, which is commodifying women. We're seeing women as aesthetic props. We're seeing women as, an opportunity. We're seeing women as, competition, rather than seeing women as, this is a relationship. This is not just about status, because it makes me even think, you know what jars me so much, is obviously we've entered into the whole hustle, boss babe aesthetic, all of that. We're working, we're independent women making money. How many women will be doing this whole let's hustle together, let's grind together, all that kind of stuff, under the guise of, I'm just going to use you as competition, or I'm going to use you
full stop,
because you have resources that I need want access to. Precisely. How many people are using other women as meal tickets to the next level? This whole leveling up, even the leveling up journey, some women are using other women as commodities for their leveling up journey.
Leeches.
And it makes me sick. Or I just want to connect with you. No, you want to take from me.
You want to blood suck from me. You want to be a vampire. Stop
you want to
that.
take my blood? This is double A, baby. You want to take my blood?
My whole blood type specific.
You want to take my blood because I'm a double A?
I'm an O negative. Is that your type? Yeah.
It's so
and it's
toxic.
Not, and that's the thing. It's not. How do you break this down? It's not bad to desire new friends to come into your life. It's not bad to desire to have people who will expose you to new things, right? It's when you then think you can throw away your old friends in pursuit of the new.
Bruh.
That's the issue.
And then you also get mad when the new people that enter your life aren't this perfect vision of the commodity that you thought.
Yeah.
So the person that you thought was, making X amount of money, actually they need your support because their marriage is going to hell.
Oh my God.
Or perhaps the person that you thought is living this fantastic life where they're going on holidays all the time, doing a travel influencer and all that kind of stuff, is actually in debt and needs you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have to back away because you can't fulfill your end of the relationship, because that's what this is, as a friend.
Yeah.
You've been using them as a meal ticket for so long that when they actually need you, you hop off the bus.
And that's why I need us to actually ascribe the right titles to the people in our lives. I don't expect acquaintances to help me when I'm down and out.
Absolutely not.
I don't expect professional colleagues in my field to help me when I'm crying in the middle of the night. I don't expect that of you. Therefore, there is no disappointment because expectations are clear. Expectations are very clear. This is the capacity of our friendship or our capacity of our relationship. And relationships have so many different natures, right? But I think because of the way we are raised as people, our school playground relationships, everyone is a friend, and you grow up in secondary school, everyone is a friend, right? You've got different degrees of friendship groups. You might be the floater, you might have people that you sit with every lunch, but you're pretty much cool with everyone. So if someone asks you, how do you know that girl? Well, she goes to my school, and then they start calling them your friend, and it's like, they're not my friend. But it becomes difficult to kind of outline these, and people can sometimes feel slighted when you're like, well, she's not my friend. I do it all the time, and people sometimes feel some type of way, like, oh, your friend. I'm like, that's not my friend, but I know them. They're like super cool. We've hung out and stuff like that. It takes a while to get that kind of title for me, because I know what that means and I know the expectations that it comes with. It doesn't mean the same for everybody though, right? So you may think I'm your friend, but might not be my friend, and vice versa. So I think it comes down to clear understandings of expectations from people. And if you are, the one thing I hate is a leech in disguise. If you are coming in as, I want to be your friend, I want to be close to you, but all you're doing is coming to draw, baby, you are not a friend, you are a mentee. Ooh. And I need you to ascribe the right title to it, because if I knew the title, I could attribute my time right.
She said, you are a learner.
But it's not bad.
It's not bad. No, it's
not bad.
But just come in clear. Bruh.
It's not
Wolves
bad.
in sheep's clothing.
I hate that. Do you know what I mean? Especially, and the reason why I say it is not because it's bad, but I don't want to put more responsibility on you than you can bear, because it's inevitably going to lead to disappointment, right? If I expose you to some kind of information and you don't advise me, not in a way I want to hear, but just advise me, I'm going to think, so are you here for gossip? If I give you access to my family and then I need help from you for something, and you tell me I don't feel comfortable doing that, I can't do that. Not that I want to overstep your boundaries, but in my head I would have been thinking, but we're this close, or we're this close. You're my girl. I would have expected you to show up. I would have expected you. And that's how you get blurred lines like we had in the dilemma last week, where it's like, but you're my friend. As my friend, I expect this. But in their head, you're just a girl I hang out with on Friday night. Yeah. Why are you calling me on Wednesday? Talking about my car broke out. My car broke down. Come and get me. Do you know what I mean? And this is why I think as a community, we need to, and as sisters, we need to start having good conversations about the caliber of friends that we have and the caliber of people we call friends. Because one thing I loved growing up, my mother would see certain people and she would say, no, that is not your friend. I don't care what you call her. I don't care that you tied her hair in a ponytail at break. She is not your friend. I think more of us need to have those kind of conversations with ourselves and with the women in our lives that said, I know that girl looks pretty. I know she comments on your Instagram post. I know she's bought you a nice present. I know that she's told you, she wants to make money moves with you, but that is not your friend.
In my country, they call them witches.
But they might not even be a bad person. It's just no distance, no boundaries, no realms of friendship. Do you know what I mean? It's not... You're here calling somebody best friend who wouldn't even sacrifice a minute of their time for you if it doesn't benefit them, right? Why would you call someone a sister who isn't willing to be inconvenienced by you? And it's not to say you should welcome people. And this is another conversation we need to have about friendship and what people actually believe it entails. Because for some reason, we just think that romantic relationships require sacrifice when... platonic friendships, true sisterhood requires sacrifice. Oh, we already read the book when it comes out, because we think that this is what it's all about. We think that the only relationships in our lives that require investment, that require us to change, that require us to feel a bit uncomfortable, that require us to sacrifice, that require us to actually be uncomfortable, like really, wow, I'm out of my comfort zone here. I'm doing something which isn't dangerous to me. It's not dangerous to me. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's not dangerous to me. It's just forcing me to trust somebody more. It's forcing me to believe in somebody. It's forcing me to trust your word. It's causing me to do things which maybe my past traumas, my past heartbreaks, my past experiences have taught me to not do for people anymore, right? And you're drawing those things out of me. You're drawing a level of intimacy out of me as a friend. But we think that the only relationships that require intimacy and depth and the discomfort that come with those things are romantic relationships. And so women are so invested in changing themselves to adapt for romantic partners partners, but they will not change themselves for platonic friends and people in their sisterhood who are really having their best interest at heart, or who can grow in that kind of relationship and intimacy with them. And I think it's really unfortunate, because one life-changing force I've experienced in my life is sisterhood. It is friendship. Does it always go perfect? No, but you're here changing yourself for that man who you've been with for 7 years, who hasn't popped the question. It ain't working out well with him, but you're still trying, aren't you? You're still trying.
And the worst thing is, you will use your other relationships as a stepping stone for that romantic relationship. You will see your friendships as, what's the word, inferior to your romantic relationships. And of course things will change as, seriousness and different priorities and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that even the way that we structure our relationships, right, from our relationships with our family, thinking about our parents, our actual siblings, our real sisters, our real brothers, and then thinking about our friends, the fact that for women the social narrative is that all of these relationships are taking us towards men. And this is why we've got such a prevalence of folks coming up on Beyonce's internet talking about, oh, she has daddy issues. She can't be in a relationship because she's got daddy issues. Oh no, I can't be with her because her friends are toxic. My good sir, look, women, stop giving fuel to the flames of these incels. Stop it. And decenter. I think the analogy that I used in like another episode was the fact that there are multiple galaxies that exist.
Yeah.
And we need to think of these multiple like universes or galaxies as or planets as, things that are rotating in our universe and in our like sphere of whatever galaxy we occupy. There isn't one that is like, particularly at least earthly ones. Hey, Christian, hello. My son is God. Everything else, things will change, but the fact that for women we literally have a linear journey towards romantic relationships, linear to the point where we'll be dating someone. I even saw a TikTok recently just before this episode, funnily enough, whereby a babe was like, if my man calls me and I'm like hanging with my friends, she's American as well, so that's why the accent. If my man calls me and, I'm with my friends, I'm going. I don't care what we're doing. I don't care if we're in the middle of something. If my man calls, I'm going. So if he told you to jump off a bridge, will you say which bridge?
It's worrying.
What? If he says put your hand in fire, you ask him what intensity of the heat, babe?
And this is why men also sometimes be hating on you having friends, right? And we're not saying, because I do believe in your man, your family, that's your priority. I get it, right? People who, like I said, there's different levels of intimacy. The person I'm sharing a bed with, that's the most intimate I'm with. The next is the people that came out of my vagina. The people that enter and
even
exit
then,
this body.
Even then, there's levels to it. Because, dead ass, man. There's levels to it. Because even thinking about romantic partners, straight off the bat, people are prioritizing their romantic
Absolutely
partners.
not. Again, do you get what
Baby,
I mean? Do you get what I mean? And this is the thing.
You've been in my life for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Demanding all this time.
You think that I need to prioritize you over people that have paid my bills?
I don't know you like that.
People that have cried with me for almost a decade, if not since birth.
And that's why I need people to start earning their titles and earning your trust and earning your time. And it's not to say people are, lab rats or, racehorses in your life, but it is to say we reward the things we see. In this relationship, my reward is my trust, my intimacy, my availability. Okay?
Gosh.
Of course, I'm going to realign my priorities and realign my life to accommodate for you. The more you show me, I want to accommodate you. Do you know what I mean? But some of y'all, because you have the title best friend, the title mom, the title dad, the title boyfriend, but you're mad toxic. I don't want to give you any of my time. I don't want to give you any of my energy, but you keep demanding it because of a title. I'm going to need to strip that title away. Blood don't make us family.
If you cannot operate in the function, you don't deserve the title.
You don't deserve the title. And I need us to start testing functionality more. Do you function well? I know it looks like a duck, but does it quack like one? Does it walk like one?
It's like them vegan cauliflower, yeah? The vegan cauliflower wings. Because you know me, I'm a wing enthusiast.
Yeah.
It looks like a wing. But
does it even look like a wing?
In the dark.
I like
you know the
cauliflower legs,
restaurants. Oh, I saw a tweet that was so funny by Ahis, and he was like, "Why is restaurant lighting so dark? I can't
to
see
hide the
anything."
food,
Precisely
to hide the portions. Ambiance.
Ain't nothing will hide the portions from me. Guys, if there's something that you need to know about me, I am anti-tapas. Maybe it's because, you know, I grew up as, you know, poor babes or whatnot, but I just don't believe in tapas. I like whole meals. Why are you bringing me 3 prawns on a plate and telling me
it's tapas in the UK. I think the concept of tapas I like, because I'm a little bit of everything kind of babe. It's the fact that why is this plate of 3 prawns
max
£8.95? How am I meant to get more than this, sir?
And it's the whole, it's the experience. There was nothing positive about
Why
this.
did I want to experience this? You didn't fly me
I
out.
can experience 3 prawns if I want to. In
At
fact,
home?
I can do it multiple times, because when you buy prawns in the supermarket,
They come in more than 3s.
So you think because you've put little cress on
And
top,
then because you're giving me on a marbled plate, that I should now pay you an arm and a leg because you put 3
with the cost of
3 drops of dew on it. I don't. I don't. But yeah, sorry. So we're so off tangent. That we don't know what we were talking about.
Coming back to toxic friendships and talking about, you know,
functionality.
There we go.
Over title.
Functionality over title. So many of us we're so ready to like posture as the thing. Even like sometimes the way we flippantly say sis or like friend and all that kind of thing. Look.
And it's the girls that say sis. No. Renee. It's the girls that call people sis that make videos like this on TikTok, right? It's okay. So it's so patronizing.
Hey sis.
I would never forget reading the tweet. She said, "It's the girls that call me sis that rob your husband." It's actually the girls that call you sis that will be plotting behind in the background. Yeah.
If you're a big like watcher of Nollywood movies, I think that is the perfect like.
You should go and watch Blood Sisters.
Old school Nollywood movies demonstrated so well how women will even get close to you in order to take things that you have, as well as people that you have. And the whole hey sis, but they're running up on your man.
Yep. And this is the sad thing, because with female friendships have this notorious reputation for being toxic, for being draining, for being full of drama. And I think that's why we have to go so hard with breaking down why that is. And I think it's because we have a lot of the time centered men, or even if it's not centering men, it's a competitive mindset, a mindset which says, don't work on your insecurities. Don't work on your personal development. Just convince yourself that everyone else below you will start stepping on people's heads to ascend. Do you know what I mean? And that is such a toxic competitive mindset, which exists often in larger societies, which make it seem as though there is a scarcity in good things. And unless you attain what is being painted to you as the dream, as the American dream, as the ideal, as the epitome of pure happiness and zen, and something that is to be envied, right? In order to ascend there, you need to annihilate, it's Hunger Games. You need to annihilate all other competitors. All other players need to die, or all other players need to be down and out for you to be successful and for you to win the one trophy that exists. But baby, let me tell you, there are multiple prizes in this world, and you may be thinking, no, they're scarce, but that's because you think everybody's trophy looks like yours. Everyone's trophy doesn't look like yours.
Absolutely.
You're here trying to ball for the high value man. Other people are trying to get that degree. Other people are trying to get out of poverty. Other people are trying to make sure that their ovaries start working and they can finally have that baby. Other people are focused on so many other things that this little thing that matters to you doesn't matter to everybody else. So stop running as if everyone's focus is on the thing that you are running for. It's not.
Evolution is natural. And I think sometimes we think that when we transcend certain life stages, it becomes impossible because people are different from you, or, you know, we perceive it as a linear journey. So if they're not in step with your progression, then all of a sudden they're these like heretics or people that want to stay in their disgusting, just staying behind and all that kind of stuff. Look, everybody progresses at a different pace.
Yeah.
Just because whatever their life looks like right now is different doesn't mean that you can't extend. It's not even extending grace. It doesn't mean that you can't evolve. Friendships evolve. And in the same way that romantic relationships evolve over time, and things and experiences happen that force you to change and evolve, we need to apply that same thinking to friendships, because there will be times where you're very divergent on, you know, your career or your relationships or whatever it is in your life. That doesn't mean that your friendship cannot transcend those boundaries. And in fact, it's a testament of your friendship, because no longer will your friendship always be one of convenience, but it will be one of intentionality. And I think that women have, you know, we've been falsely led, we have been sleepwalking into this idea that our friends need to keep up with us, when really the reality of the situation is you need to understand, like, you need to find ways to ensure that your friends are, like, you're continuing to pull your friends even though you're in different spaces. It doesn't mean that the support has to look the same, or you need to be supported, you know, in a way that sometimes we think that we need to be supported in a way that we
need to receive.
Precisely. When sometimes actually having somebody who is far removed from the situations that you're going through can be such an asset, because they're not, you know, blinded by the same things as you. They're not going through the same things as you. And this is not to say, like, intentionally seek out friendships whereby people are always different from you. You're going to have a range of friends, but that's just life. The human experience is about building up friendships and relationships with people that are different than you. And I think things like social media, the progression of this generation, echo chambers, the prevalence of I need to be around like-minded people, has women sleepwalking into this incapacity to engage with people that are just a bit different from them. So what? You are this race and your other friend is this race. If anything, that's a difference to be conquered, not to be divided. Okay, so maybe your friend is earning more than you. Okay, that's a difference to be conquered and not divided. It's just the fact that sometimes we need to see difference, not as a sign of whether this person is progressing or regressing, but as a sign of strength. How can we unify over this difference? How can we find ways to build bridges, not burn them? How many times are we hearing, oh, I'm going to burn bridges? Even some, the most prevalent, I just hope God shows me who needs to be leaving my life. God show me my enemies. We're so obsessed with this idea of everybody around me is a potential enemy.
But I think that's a manifestation of this self-centered era that we're in. Really? I really do. Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of us want to believe that we are not only the center and the main character of our lives, but we are the center and the main character of everybody else's. Forgetting that they don't care about you.
Do you really think, in your own life, thinking about your own life, the amount of time and energy you give to people, thinking about what people think about you, thinking about, like, having, you know, extremely hateful and jealous energy towards people. Do you know how much energy that consumes on a day? The cost of living is rising. The cost of living is rising. There's war.
Yeah, but I also think it's a symptom of this bad belief that we have about friendships in general, which is when you are in a friendship group or you form a friendship, the intention of that friendship is to morph you into that other person. And so you should both start looking the same. And I think that's why you can't embrace that difference. And I think it's unfortunate because in the capitalistic, individualistic society that we live in, it's very sad that this narrative of network being net worth has penetrated deep into our souls, because some of you, maybe your money may be up, but your soul is running on E. And I need us to talk about that.
Some of y'all suck.
Because friendship is not just based on network and you being able to turn me into you. Friendship is not there to make you become like the rest of your friends. That popular saying that it's like your network is your net worth really is just about one aspect of your life, which is your professional life.
There we go.
Do you get what I mean? But when we live in a world which makes that everything, right? Your professional life and your success in your career, your success at business, where your money's at, what clothes you wear, what car you drive. When that becomes the most important thing about a person, that's what we focus on the most. That's what we make all of us. Do you get what I mean? So of course I then want to get closer to people who will help me improve in that aspect, because that's where I think fulfillment and also self-worth actually comes from, right? And so you then start forgetting about the deep things which actually connect us as human beings, such as morals, character. Do you get what I mean? And the thing, conversation, intellect, political view, social view. Do you know what I mean? And then you start finding it hard to, even when people start showing you their ass, right? Or even the good parts of them, you find it hard to accept them as real people, because it's like, but on the surface we seem so compatible. But now I'm learning the truth of who you actually are. I realize that A, you're very problematic, or B, I don't actually like you. Now where do we stand? Because we've been friends for 3 years.
Or maybe they don't like you.
Oh, that's another thing. When you start revealing who you truly are, and they people don't like that either. If somebody in your life has gotten close enough to be called a friend, in our faith, it says a friend sticks closer than a brother, right? And it's also made for a time of adversity. You need to consider the fact that friends are there for hard times.
Think about it.
It's not just good times. It's not just they're not just there for enjoyment. I know you've got 50 people that come to your birthday party, but how many people are going to come and visit you when you're in hospital? I know you've got 10,000 followers on Instagram. I know that every time you post, people are, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, but who's going to be there if you have a mental breakdown? Who's going to be there to help you? Even the simple things. Let's even take it from the tragic things that happen to us. There have been times where I've been overwhelmed with work. Renee has been overwhelmed with work. Who's going to call you and be like, I can sense you're overwhelmed. Let me help you. Let me help you with those deadlines. Let me help you with those tasks. Let me help you with that application, right? Who's going to be there when the struggle comes? That's what friendships are really there for. And that's why we invest in these relationships, to give them strength to withstand greater storms, which we experience not just as friends, not just as partners, but as individuals as well. Knowing that you have the anchor of a friend, a community, lets you know that when I face this storm, there's a rock I can get anchored to that is strong. And it's not just strong because it's always been strong. It's strong because when I had the strength, I was pouring into it. And now I'm going there to collect. I need help now.
It's like a bank balance, man.
Exactly.
It's a bank balance. You have to look at this as an active investment over time.
And that's what love is.
We can be so, this is the thing. Love is really giving.
Love is about deposits and then withdrawals.
We can be so flippant when it comes to our friends, just hanging out or, etc. Like, when was the last time you called his sister and said, yo, are you okay? Just like, yo. Or when was the last time that somebody that you call a friend, they popped into your mind and you actually followed through and said, let me call them. Do you know how many times, like recently, somebody has popped up in my head and I said, let me follow through and actually call or message and say, yo, you okay? And they go, you know what, sis? I am not good.
And that even brings me to talk about the fact that we're not always perfect. Like, I think it's important to realize that, like, as individuals, we're not always perfect, but also as friends, we are not always perfect. But the duty is to present that you're always trying to change. The duty is trying to show that you're putting in effort, or the fact that you acknowledge your downfalls, and you're trying to grow. And that's why we say this is a growing and glowing journey. Like, you're actually, it's an it's a doing, it's a verb, It's something that you're doing, and it's also something that is about progression, right? It's something about growth. And you might not be the perfect friend now. And we're not saying, even to draw on the first example, we started with the girl who made the TikTok, right? We're not saying she's a bad person. We're not saying she's a bad friend. What we are saying is those things can be very telling of what could be happening deeper, past the surface level of what's just being said, but what's actually being thought and felt towards female friendships. But also it's not an indication of the fact that somebody can never change, but I think it needs to be preceded with an acknowledgement of the fact that change needs to be made, right? A lot of us can get strong-headed, hard-headed, right? And this is just how I am. And we think, unfortunately, another thing that happens is because we think that romantic relationships are the only things worthy of our change and platonic relationships should just work, we don't actually take time to acknowledge that our platonic relationships can be better. All we do is ascribe blame. And the blame is often never with us. It's often with God and that's why we keep praying these, God, show me the people in my life who are toxic. How about no? How about you actually learn patience with the friends that you have? You
know what's even funny about that? You'll be like, God, take out like the toxic people in my life. How do you know he ain't removing you from somebody else's life?
That's what I'm saying. So the toxic person is you.
How do you know?
Right? But also why are you trying to run away? And this is a wider conversation we need to have, because I know that it's good to have boundaries. It's important to have boundaries, let me even say. It's important to have self-care. It's important to have all of these amazing things which protect you and protect your mental health. However, no relationship, listen to me quite carefully, no relationship is going to be full of daisies all the time. No relationship is going to be without some kind of challenge. And also no relationship, forget challenge, is going to be without sacrifice. Do you get what I mean? when it comes down to your friends, it's so easy. And I think as a generation, we're throwing around this word. I've said it before, this word toxic way too much, right? This person is toxic. No, this person's relationship with you is challenging. It has challenged you, right? This person's toxic. No, they disappointed you. Deal with that. This person is toxic. No, they disagreed with you. Deal with that.
That's so good.
This person is toxic. No, they made a mistake. Deal with that. We want to throw away the whole human being based on one failing. If everyone in your life did that with you, who would you have? Who would you actually have? We can't just throw the whole baby out with the bathwater. And this is why our generation struggles so much to have hard conversations.
Yeah.
Because we think, you've done one thing, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to address it. You should know what you did.
And this one
Get
thing
out of
is
the door.
representative of who you are entirely as a person.
Exactly.
Life doesn't work like that,
And we blow
man.
things up. And that's another thing. We blow up things because we have already picked up on other stuff in our mind that we haven't expressed and we've just internalized. Do you get what I mean? You said that thing and it pissed me off, but this is not the first time you've pissed me off. But the first time you pissed me off, I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
And you keep doing it. But it's like, but if you had just said the first time when it hadn't even become a hard conversation. It hadn't even become an elephant in the room. If you had just said something when it was a seed,
pattern.
when you had said something when this thing was a seed that hadn't even been planted yet, we would have avoided all of this animosity and hostility you feel towards your friend. But you're now, because you're getting to your boiling point of internalized things, right? You're getting to the point where you're ready to burst of all the things that you have internalized. You're ready to tell this person to get out of your life. You have a personal development issue. You have a character issue.
And you have a skewed sense and understanding of the way that human
beings work. Relationships are just challenging because they are a sequence of challenges. You need to just sit down, and every challenge that comes up, before this becomes an obstacle, we're going to get over it. We're going to pass through this challenge. A challenge, the beautiful thing about a challenge versus an obstacle is obstacles require more effort. Obstacles kind of obstruct your way. Challenges are actually there just to help you succeed. If a challenge arises whilst I'm on good terms with you, it's better to address it then. Because if an obstacle comes up or an offense comes up when I'm not on good terms with you,
it's T4 times.
It's curtains.
They're designed differently. A challenge
curtains.
can be designed to facilitate your growth.
Yeah.
An obstacle is designed to
stop
stunt
you.
your growth.
To stop you in your
It's
tracks.
designed to stop you. So if you allow challenges to snowball into an obstacle, know that you've actually actively shagged your growth for an obstacle.
Yeah, because
for something to stop.
And I personally think that obstacles are challenges that just weren't dealt with.
Yeah.
An obstacle really is things have stacked up now. Now it's in your way.
Yep.
It was just a step before. Now it's a wall.
In the bud. It becomes difficult to take the example that you used insofar as you've got a friend and they're doing something that's pissed you off, but because it's gone to the point where they've been doing it repeatedly and you haven't addressed it, you are now also not in the clear, because when you finally do address it, because it's become a pattern, as somebody that I would have wanted to have known about that sooner.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me about this when, we've gone 6 months of this being a thing? Why did you not feel comfortable enough to address this with me? Why are you only telling me now?
Yeah. And then we get upset because it's why aren't you understanding that I'm communicating that I'm upset? And it's because you weren't upset the last 75 times that I did it. And even if you were upset, you didn't show me. And please don't call this gaslighting. This is about communication.
Yeah.
I'm not invalidating the fact that this may have upset you. I'm just confused about why this upset you when I've done it before. And you're going to tell me, but you do it all the time and it frustrates me. Then why didn't you tell me so I could have stopped?
Yeah. Do you
know what I mean? And this is another, we think that if I tell you, you won't stop. We need to start believing in people a bit more. As much as we sit here and we drag ourselves and other people about, our failings as human beings and how much society has caused us to make those failings, you also have to believe that there are people out there who are similarly like you on a glowing and growing journey to becoming a better person, who are willing to try. And so the reason why I'm having this hard conversation with you now, which isn't actually that hard, I'm just pointing out the fact that I didn't appreciate that or that made me uncomfortable, is because I actually trust that you'll change. I actually trust that at least you'll try.
I want to continue this relationship.
Exactly.
Because many of us will enter into Oh man, communication 101. Many of us, because we've got this gripe and we've built up this image of this person in our head, we enter and we express ourselves with the intent to destroy and not to build. So even the way you deliver, even the way that, you know, you think of the person, you've completely demonized them in your head to fill an agenda, which is, I don't want to continue this with you. I want to come out of this the good person and you the bad person, and that's that. When relationships don't work like that. Both of you guys are equally good and bad.
Exactly.
And you need to acknowledge that sometimes people trip up in the same way that you trip up. Like personally, if I was pissing off my friend or whoever, I need to know as soon as possible so I can figure out how am I going to stop that. Or like, what are strategies for success? It might even be a thing where, you know, you've actually co-signed what they've been doing for a while, but now all of a sudden you've decided, no, actually I've only been co-signing it because I couldn't express myself prior. That's also legitimate. Again, how you phrase it and how you deliver it is just as important as the content itself, because if you are going in sharp, girl, you're gonna come out bleeding.
That's good.
You're gonna come out bleeding.
That's really good. It's tough. Like relationships are what you make it, sis. Friendships, romantic relationships, they are what you make it. But the whole essence of this conversation is the fact that don't be the toxic friend, and also don't be so quick to label your friends toxic. Right? Because I think we need to start embracing the idea that not everything is going to be easy breezy beautiful cover girl. Not everything is, you know, the perfect Instagram picture. Me and my girls went on a girls trip and this is what looks great. Sometimes true friendship is sitting down and being like, you know, A, how are you? And B, how are we? How many of us actually take time to assess our friendships and say, you know, is the amount of times we're communicating enough? Especially you don't assume that because, you know, when we were in secondary school, we only talked this much, and now we're more busy. We can't talk that much, but your friend might need you to talk more with her. It's just really taking time to be attuned. And the thing about being attuned to somebody else is it means that you have to, for a split second, stop thinking about you all the time.
You have to completely decenter yourself, baby.
Yourself. You have to start thinking about someone else. And we're in a time where, and I say this not because we're bad people, but I actually think a lot of us are exhausted. A lot of us are tired. And this is why the premise of true sisterhood is personal healing and personal growth, because it's hard to love someone when you are exhausted. It is hard to serve someone and be happy about it when you feel exploited. It really is about confronting these systemic issues, but also personal issues, emotional issues, mental issues that a lot of us contend with on a daily basis, which prohibit us from actually being good friends or good people in other people's lives. And it's no one's fault. It's not your fault. Do you get what I mean? It's actually not your fault. It's the fault of the world we live in. It's the fault of the people who took it upon themselves to hurt you. It's the fault of the people who chose to exploit you. It's not your fault for feeling that way, but unfortunately it is now your responsibility to deal with it so that it doesn't negatively affect other people, because you're making bad choices that they are the collateral damage of. Do you get what I mean? And a lot of us treat our friends, they're collateral damage. They'll be okay. They were just a part of that season of my life when I was growing. But how did that make them feel? Because some of us have gone through things where, you know, when somebody does something to you that, I don't know if you've experienced it, but someone has done something that cut you to the core. Like actually shattered your actual whole life. You talk to them about it and their explanation is that they were going through a really hard time, right? And it makes sense. You were going through a really hard time. Something happened to you. You were flaring up. You were going through trauma, whatever it was, right? However, it doesn't stop the fact that you hurt me. I was damaged in the midst of that. I was damaged as a consequence, as a result of what you did. It doesn't change that, right? And now we have to deal with the very real fact that you hurt me. Just because you were going through something doesn't absolve you of the fact that you hurt me. And a lot of us, instead of just seeing ourselves as the people who get hurt, some of us need to start accepting and realizing that we are the people doing the hurting. Our lack of healing over that last friendship that you felt betrayed, you felt embarrassed, you felt like those girls snaked you. One of my old best friends cheated on me with my ex cheated on me with her. Crazy. That was my childhood friend.
But that's a different person.
Not Renee. Can't sit on this couch.
Don't be putting snakes on my Instagram comments. Don't be doing none of that, because I'll fight you. Don't do that.
But that has happened to me, right? That was my first best friend ever.
Crazy, man.
Do you get what I mean? And so that can shape your entire perspective about women. That can change your entire perspective about female friendships, right? If I don't do the work to heal, I'm going to put that on you and you're going to pay the consequences every time. So if then one day you do something and I say something in retaliation, not to you, but the person that I see you emulating, or to the person who I hate the most, right? It can cut you. Just because I was dealing with something doesn't mean you weren't the one who felt the cut. Have you ever seen those movies, where somebody is hallucinating and they think that someone in front of them is actually like an enemy, so they start fighting, but then they realize it's actually not, somebody else, different, you know? But you were still kicking and hitting me, you were still punching me. I felt that, man. So I need you to deal with your thing because I'm feeling it. You went through it, but why am I feeling it?
Why am I paying the consequences for actions I did not perpetrate?
I didn't do any of that, right? That's how we need to start approaching our female friendships in order for them to thrive. I'd say healing, a whole bunch of healing, a whole bunch of
a whole bunch of accountability.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of rewiring.
That's the thing. A whole bunch of rewiring and reordering our priorities and where our investments are. Because you've been making a whole bunch of deposits into your other relationships, and those other bank balances you have with your friends are coming up.
There's some
empty.
Tumbleweed that is going across your account screen
in
right
deficits, in fact, in overdraft. All you've been doing is taking. You need to start giving. You can't make... Some of y'all ain't never got a letter from your bank saying your bank account is closed.
Fam.
You can't keep taking from here. You don't put anything here. You can't keep taking from here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's never happened to me though.
Do you know how funny that is? Oh man, that is so funny. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but that's just, I think this is just for me. You're probably thinking I've talked the most out of this episode. This is just one of the things that has always been on my heart, because I know the true power of friendship and the true power of loving people and also letting people love you. And these are the things we exclude ourselves from, and we stop ourselves from enjoying and feeling because of very real things that have happened to us as people. But I truly want us as sisters to believe in true friendship and true love. And it's not about people who are perfect, because you may, find a sister through the TMS squad and then she breaks your heart.
Yeah.
But have hope that someone else can love you the way you need to be loved, and that there are good people out there, whether it be romantic partners, but actual friends as well. Have that optimism, have that hope. Please believe in humanity as much as the world is messed up. What else? That's why we started the sisterhood, girl. I'll never forget having that first idea. I was like, God,
you on one.
That's something. But yeah, sisters, let us not ramble. We hope that you had an amazing week, and we hope that you have an amazing week. Thank you so much for spending this evening with us. Let us know your thoughts about toxic friends, toxic friendships. Have you experienced one?
Where she at?
We are
Send
grieving
the Addy,
with you.
We rolling through with some healing.
Personally, I don't do that.
World star hip hop.
I'm a bit of a rider though. I'm not gonna lie. I like a bit of
ride, but we ain't dying.
We ain't dying. I don't do that. As soon as somebody pulls my edges, I'm so sorry. It's my money maker. Can't be walking around edgeless.
Oh, not the face.
No.
Sorry.
You can pinch me.
Even don't touch me.
Yeah, personally, I'm quite delicate.
I'm sensitive. Yeah,
I still have some scars from childhood. I can't fight.
Yeah,
I can't fight. I can fight.
But I won't.
But I won't let you fight me.
Yeah.
That's the reverse. That's the issue.
That is it.
I can fight you, but I won't let you fight me.
Yeah.
I'm going to start telling people that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts about this topic in the YouTube comments, or you can join the sisterhood on Instagram at @ToMySisterhood to let us know your thoughts on our comments on our posts and responding to our stories. We love when you engage with us. It definitely helps the sisterhood grow as well. And if you want to follow us individually whilst you're on there looking for TMS, then you can follow this lovely, beautiful, and the blonde at Renee Kafuku.
Mysterious
and you can
girl.
also follow me. And you can also follow me at CD Boating.
Awesome sauce. Yes, please be following us on all platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of the joints.
Good jazz.
And make sure that you are signed up to our mailing list. The link will be provided below for some weekly updates on how you can glow and grow alongside us. Sisters, it's been a real one.
It's been a good
and
one.
we hope that you are real ones. That's the one that we gonna leave. Yeah, we just gonna sprinkle some
lyricism.
Little lyricism. My Spotify account before Courtney locks off.
So we would
episode,
love for you to
my
rate
Spotify,
the podcast
my
3 or 5 stars. And yeah, have an amazing week. Keep learning and growing. We love you. Ciao, ciao. Damn. Not this again.
Courtney's like, if you even talk about your
we don't want
EP.
it.
I'll have you know. The sisters, please be commenting if you're interested in hearing.
Want
I've
it.
even got a new what do you call it, title?
What? We don't want it.
Ren speaks, because I'm a spoken word artist as well. Sisters.
Happy Easter, by the way.
Have a phenomenal Easter. Enjoy. If you're having a long weekend, please enjoy your long weekend. We're gonna wrap it up now, honestly. But we love you. Please take care of yourselves, and we'll be back sooner than you know it next week.
I'll make sure she stopped that nonsense before we come back.
Oh baby, I'm gonna be back with a new.
This is how villains are born.
Look, I've been in the studio with Jay, but you know that's for next week. Keep glowing and growing. Is that a laugh or a cry?
I think it's both.
Oh, that is so funny.
I want you to thrive, Renee. I really do, but like, I don't think this is where it's gonna be. I'm so imagine.
You know what killed me is that I was in the studio with Cuddy. Like, no, you weren't.
No, you weren't. He doesn't know you were. Oh.
Cuddy, no kid. Nah, man, we just call it Cuddy.
No kid.